Hello everyone and welcome. This is Christine with Patter Crafts, and today we'll be making 4 cards using the Scrapping for Less Flavor of the Month card kit. This month's theme is It's All About the Girls. So we'll be making our 4 cards today using the card sketches that go along with this card kit that are provided by Scrapping for Less. If you'd like to see what those are, you can head over to their website. They have a downloads tab, and you can print out the card sketches if you wish, or you could just look at them online. They just give you a little bit of inspiration on making cards. I know I like to refer to card sketches when I'm having kind of a little block, and sometimes it just is nice. You can start out with a sketch and then eventually it'll turn into your own thing. Sometimes I deviate off of these sketches, which is really fun. So for this first card, I'm using sketch number 4, and this stamp is just gorgeous. You can color it and make it really elaborate, or you can just keep it really simple and just stamp it out, which is what I'm doing today. I'm not matting the image on any pattern paper, so I just took some pink distress ink and went ahead and just edged the edges of that just to give it a little bit of definition against all this pattern paper. So we are going to go ahead and just adhere that right there. And I really wanted to use the enamel dots, but there just wasn't any good place to put them. This collection also comes with these chipboard pieces. I chose Hello because I thought it was a big enough statement or sentiment, but it didn't take away from the stamped image. So this is pretty much it for the front of the card. So we'll go ahead and work on the inside. Whenever I use colored cardstock, I tend to use a white mat on the inside. We're going to go ahead and grab one of the sentiments from the stamp set and stamp that right there in the middle. I apologize, I can't tell you what it says because I am doing this voiceover and I do not have the kit with me, so I don't have the stamp right here to read that off for you, and I apologize. So we're going to just add some of the stars. There's like a little cluster of stars that comes in that stamp set, and we're just going to add a few of those, and we're going to call this card done for today. Really simple, really sweet, but yet really elegant. So moving on to card number 2, we are going to be using sketch number 3. Now, this particular card, we have to change gears a couple different times. One of them being with this really pretty like gold pattern paper. It's not glitter paper, but it's meant to look like glitter paper. And there you see I cut it too short because sometimes I do that. So I'm like, darn it, we're going to grab my second favorite pattern paper from this kit and we'll cut that down and we'll do it the right way. But we're not going to not use that glittery looking paper. We are going to go ahead and use that as one of the pieces for the front. So now it's time to stamp this really large sentiment that says Birthday Queen, which is fitting because last month was all about the boys and we had Birthday King, and that was also another kind of large sentiment. So I'm going ahead and stamping this out with just some black ink. I am stamping it a couple of times to get a really nice, clean, crisp sentiment, and then I'm going to cut that out using a circle die. Now the circle die that needs to fit around this, it needs to be quite big. I also used a pretty large circle like mini scallop die to make a mat underneath from the paper that's like a pinkish purple glitter paper that I thought went really well with it, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But for this part here, now that gold rhinestone like mesh, you can cut that. So I cut strips and I'm using it to put on each side of this glitter paper, pattern paper. It's not glitter paper. I don't want you to think that, but it's made to look like glitter paper. So we're going to go ahead and use a lot of multi-matte medium to hold that down, and then I'm using some liquid glue to adhere this Birthday Queen sentiment to that purple piece. Now that purple piece was so pretty, so before I glued it on there, I actually cut the center out to use for a different card, but I end up using it on this card, and you'll see why. So I'm going to go ahead, add some liquid glue, and then I just let this sit overnight. It was starting to get late anyway, so next day I come and it's all dry and it looks great. This is my issue with this. That birthday queen sentiment and the way I had made it was too big for the front of the card. It hid all that pretty gold rhinestone glittery paper stuff. I was like, ugh, all right, I got to come up with plan B. So I'm looking at the stamp set, and we have some 40th birthdays coming up. So I thought it'd be great. You know what? We're going to make this a 40th birthday card. The stamp set has the word this, and also has is. So I decided to do this is 40. And I'm kind of doing the opposite of what I did with Birthday Queen, because my purple mat is just a regular circle die, and then the white is the mini scalloped circle die that I used to create that. So we're popping that up on some foam tape, and I much prefer the look of this. It doesn't hide all that gold, and I was really happy with that. But there was a lot of white space, so we're grabbing some of those enamel dots from this collection. So we'll go ahead and put the panel on the front of the card, and then I am not letting my Birthday Queen sentiment go to waste or hold off for another day. We are going to go ahead and add that to the center of the card today. So this is card number 2 using collection number 2. So now we're going to move on to collection number 3. And we're going to use sketch number 1. This is kind of my interpretation of sketch number 1. I start off by following it, but then I kind of move on to my own little thing. So right now I'm trying to choose which pattern papers I want to use. There's going to be kind of 3. One for the main panel, one that's like a strip that goes across the middle, and then a square. So I'm going to probably use, or not going to probably, I've already done it, so I know that I'm going to use some dies to cut these pieces down, and I'm going to mat them on some blue cardstock. I actually ended up using some of the cardstock from the kit because it matched really nicely. I wanted a little bit of a defined line between all those patterns since they were pretty much going to be stacked on top of one another. So I have those all cut, set, and ready to go, and we are going to stamp out the shoes from the stamp set. And I'm going to do those using my it's C1, C3, and C5. These are Copic markers. I definitely had the Cinderella feel with this stamp set, and I'm trying to like make glass slippers without them being white, and I don't necessarily know if they look like glass, but they came out really pretty anyway. So I am going to color these all in, and then once that is done, I am going to fussy cut. We all know how much I love to fussy cut, but actually these were pretty easy to fussy cut. There's not a lot of strange angles on these shoes, which is usually my issue with fussy cutting, is if you have to do a lot of twists and turns. So we'll go ahead and just cut these shoes out, and then I'm going to bring in a black Copic marker to kind of darken the edges just to make it look much nicer, because if you miss and it's not perfect and you have any of those little white little edges, it just helps just make it look much nicer if you can do that. I probably wouldn't recommend you use a black Copic like this because you might ruin the tip of your black Copic marker, but I don't tend to use black for anything other than this, so I'm okay with it. Now the fun part, we're going to go ahead and adhere all of the different pieces. The pattern paper in this collection I thought was so pretty. So far I'm following the sketch pretty closely until we get to about this part, because I go and put my shoes on. I realize the square is kind of big for these shoes. And then I saw these pretty flower ephemera pieces I had, and I was like, you know, I'm going to just kind of make this my own thing. Let's put some of these flowers in the corner over here. So we are going to use the ephemera from the kit, and we're going to add some flowers. Your ephemera might be a little bit different. And then I'm going to add the shoes more to the lower left over there. So once I have those down, we know I have to add some sparkles. So we are using the Spectrum Noir. This is the sparkle pen. I really love it. I think I love it more than the Wink of Stella. But my Wink of Stella is kind of old. Maybe I need a new one, and then I'll compare them and see if I really do love it more. So I'm using the sentiment from the stamp set, and I kind of make it a little to the right so I can add this piece of ephemera here that's kind of a key with some flowers. And because I want to try to make these look like glass shoes, I'm adding a bunch of Nouveau drops. This is just the color, I think it's Morning Dew, and it's just clear. Like there's no glitter because I used the sparkle pen, so I just am using the clear Nouveau drops, and I thought they came out really pretty. I think if I were to do it again though, I'd make sure it was more even, because you can totally tell when it's dry that it wasn't evenly applied. So we will move on to card number 4 using collection number 4. We're using sketch number 2. The papers in this collection are so pretty and so girly. I love the little teapot. So the sketch goes and shows a square card, but I didn't think the stamp was big enough to justify making a square card. So I'm just using making a regular A2 size card because it seems to be more fitting for the image that's in the stamp set. So we're just trimming down all the pattern paper pieces. This one just was a part of a scrap, so I kind of just put them together because the part where they go together is going to be hidden. So right now I'm going to go ahead and add my teapot. I was going to put the cup from the stamp in there, but I didn't have enough room, so that will go on the inside after. And then I decided I wanted to make the pot this polka dot paper. And this is another one of those things where I started with one idea and then I didn't like it, so then I ended up switching it up. So right now I'm paper piecing the majority of the pot, and I was like, okay, then I'm going to just color in the bottom, the handle, and the top part, like the lid. So I started to color those in, and I did not like the look of it. So I even throw this piece away, the extra pieces to the handle. So I ended up having to go through the trash and find it. I very much could have just stamped another one, but I'm like, it's in here. And it was on the top. It did not take me very long to find it, but the fact that I end up having to go grab it out of the trash can was kind of funny. So first I kind of do this light pink. I don't like the way it looks. Bring in this darker pink. Don't like the way it looks. Then I think I'm going to be real sly here. I'm just going to bring in a purple and color right over the top of it. And guess what? That didn't work either. This was just like, it's almost like the colors didn't match the paper well enough. So you know what? I just was like, forget it. I grabbed all the other pieces, I cut them out and applied it on to the teapot. So we'll finish going ahead, putting this all together, and then we are going to work on the inside of the card. We have these really cute wooden icon pieces. I ended up using the little teapot because I thought it was the best one for the size to use. I was like, ooh, we have a little teapot, but I didn't want to do teapot and teapot. So we grabbed the little teacup instead. So the stamp also comes with some little bubbles, and I just thought it'd be fun to just put some little bubbles coming out of the little opening there of the teapot. I don't know what that's called. I'm sorry. But we're going to just go ahead now and put a white mat on the inside. The sentiment's really tiny, and I could not get it to straighten out very well. So I'm going to put the sentiment in, but it's going to be done crooked on purpose, but I thought it came out looking good anyway. So they're just so tiny. It was hard for me to line them up. So I want to thank you so very much for joining me today. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please don't forget to hit subscribe. I'll leave information about the kit below. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.